Welcome, everybody, to Altadena Talks, episode 187. If you can
That's
believe
bananas.
that. Today is Toni Talks segment. I am Jamal Smith, and I'm going to pop off. And now we have Toni, who will introduce herself and her guest. So, see you guys in a minute.
And you guys are funny with that. I'm popping off, but they do it. Good morning, everybody. As you know, I'm Toni Bailey Rains. Welcome to, that's crazy. 187th episode of Altadena Talks already. Literally, this is what, the 2nd of October, which means that this year is flying by, but super happy to have everyone tune in this morning. I have an amazing person that I just met, Steve Rahim, with me, we met at After the Fire Summit, the one last month where I was up in Sonoma for like 3 days. Met with Steve, talked a lot as we could because we, in and out or whatever when we were at different things. But it was so great meeting Steve, and I was like, we got to connect. We got to stay in touch. So part of the reason that I brought Steve on this morning is because he is an 8-year, literally in 5 days, he will be 8 years in from the 2017 Tubbs fire in Sonoma County, and the organizer of a nonprofit that's now disbanded, but it was called Coffee Park. So we're going to just talk today. Huh?
Oh, Coffee Strong.
Coffee Strong. Okay. It says, Coffee Park organizer. Okay. So Coffee Strong. But super excited to have you on and have this discussion today, because you and I have spoken a few times. We had a Zoom call a week or so ago, and we could talk for hours. I already know. And I was like, okay, you got to go. I got to go. But I think what happens is, we get almost in this bubble. And I know I've said this before, people stay mad for a very long time. Things trigger, things come back up, brings the emotions and all that up again. But even on top of that, like our county supervisors, because I told you we're not a city, we're a town and within the county of Los Angeles, but our county supervisors are doing a lot to help Altadena. But I think sometimes people lose sight of the fact that with us being unincorporated and a town within the county, that our county supervisors, specifically ours for our district, is responsible for 2 million people and lots of towns and cities within her district. And then the rest of the supervisors have all kinds of stuff, right? Because they're like, well, what about us? When it comes to Palisades getting help or somebody getting help. And I always try to remind people that even Palisades is within the county of Los Angeles. It is a city, a sub-city of LA, but in the county, and then Malibu or Hollywood. So when they look at what they're doing it from a county perspective, a county level perspective. And a lot of people seem as though they are expecting something to happen overnight, and it doesn't happen overnight. And I think Governor Newsom just signed the new order saying that now solar is no longer mandatory about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, which is fabulous, right? Because at first it was all solar, all sprinklers, and all electric. Then a couple months in, because I wrote letters, made calls, like tons of people, right? They said, okay, you can have gas, just no wood burning fireplaces, but gas appliances and gas, fireplaces are fine. Then now he has said solar. I wish they would do a mandate where you don't have to have the internal sprinklers per se, because if a fire gets in the house, the internal sprinklers aren't going to do a whole lot. External sprinklers, I think, would be better, and the kind that, if not just water, but have the fire retardant, because those systems are around and available. But that's my personal feeling about it. And who knows, me and others might bubble it up enough that they say, okay, you can do this kind. But that's a whole nother thing. But I wanted to bring you on, Steve, because like they said at the summit, we are all now part of a large community within the U.S. that never wanted to be, and surely did not ever think we would be part of this fire survivors community, right? So with that, and you being a 2017 Tubbs fire survivor, I think you told me your area where you live is like 95% rebuilt, and it was 490 or 400 plus homes. So I wanted to talk to you about that because we've probably got 20, at least 20 homes that are like up, right? And others that are going up, and over 200 permits issued. And people are mad thinking that's not enough in 8.5 months. But I try to remind people that we've done a quicker cleanup. They said the cleanup would be 18 months. Our cleanup took 3, and we're already rebuilding. So tell us what that was like for you all, what the process was compared to where we are in 8 months, and being part of this community, and how you are either going around with After the Fire or coming on my podcast, this segment of our podcast, to really help us grow as a community and be there for one another.
Wow, that's a lot of info, and all good stuff. So a couple facts. So we had 1,440 homes destroyed. So
Okay.
1,440 homes. We have I'm a little neurotic. I drive around the neighborhood a lot, and we probably have about 18 empty lots. So
Okay.
so the recovery in our neighborhood has been tremendous.
Yeah.
Through all different kinds paths. Now, Coffee Park, 42% of us were renters in our neighborhood before the fire. So to
Right.
have that big of a recovery back just shows the people that either wanted to live here. Quite frankly, there's some more expensive places with more terrain and more difficult to build, which made people more attractive to come to live in Coffee Park. So people were abandoning other properties and selling their land and buying land in Coffee Park. So I think we had a little increased boost there. So this was all, very grassroots, very driving around with a map and marking squares, to figure out who's being cleaned up and stuff. So it really kind of helped build the community because you didn't rely on a computer. You had to talk to people and say, hey, you go walk down that street, I'll walk down, I'll meet you in the middle. You said 8 months, and I'm trying to think of where I was 8 months after the fire. And 8 months after the fire, I was probably still crying and living in my cousin's house. I can't remember. I think we got organized very quickly after the fire. Really didn't do anything because we didn't know what to do. We were just a community of electricians and plumbers and painters and housewives and house husbands and you name it. And so it was just kind of like, okay, now do we do? So our skill set was really a community. It was like, what do you do? What do you do? Are you organized? And try to pull everybody together to really solve a problem. And so when we formed Coffee Strong, the goal was really just to get good information to the community, not sensationalized, not information that was full of anxiety and stress, but just and we had so many different stuff. You have septic and well, and you start becoming an expert. You talk about expert, lumber, materials, concrete, stuff you never had to know about, right? So I think in 8 months, let's see, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So I didn't start building my house until March of the following year. Okay. So a cleanup in my lot, fire October. My cleanup was in November, which was really quick.
A month out, right.
But it was very spotty. And and there was never they never cleaned up 7 lots on one street. It was whoever got the lot, it would be this guy and then skip 2 houses and this guy and skip 2 houses and this guy, depending on how the contracts were spread out. I think that's gotten a lot better and a lot quicker, and I think that's why you guys had so much cleanup quicker. So I'm proud of you guys for 8 months. 8 months is amazing. 8 months. I mean, there's so much stress and so much anxiety too to try to make decisions in 8 months. I mean, I was telling you the other day. I mean, my wife and I took us 8 hours to pick out a front door. We didn't want 31 flavors. We wanted chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry choices. I couldn't make any decisions. I had fire fog brain.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to even decide what you wanted to have for dinner. I got pulled over the day after the fire for running a red light. I don't even know if it was green, red, yellow. I don't even know. So, but you start when you're recovering with your fire and your own personal trauma, you find happiness in helping others, right? And I think that's where it really came from me. I actually met you the first time down at
down in LA. That's right.
And I think I told you, everybody talks about what they lost, and a lot of people are very, use the word self-centered. It's probably not the right word to use, but very focused on themselves. And I lost this. When I first met you, you said, we lost 4 churches, 3 schools, my grocery store. But I never heard you say your parents' house. I never heard you say your neighbor. Never heard any of that. And then I heard Go Mustangs.
Right.
Whenever I'm cheering somebody on, whenever I even tell my son he's doing his homework now.
That's right. Because there were 2 others there. There were Mustangs, and we were talking, about our whole rivalry in Pasadena with the one high school and our high school, which we obviously will say is the best high school. We have the game that's happening at the end of this month, and we have the Liberty Bell and stuff. But yes, because to me it is bigger than me and my family. Yes, my sister lost her place. My parents lost their place in 57 years. But there are families that one young man that watches every day and pops in sometimes, his family lost 9. I know the Williams, they lost 5, their mother and all 4 sisters. The Ben family lost 20. But on top of that, yes, my junior high school or our junior high school in Altadena, the elementary school I went to, another one that those kids are displaced to another school. And then there's other like St. Mark's and the Armenian school, and all these schools are gone. Avison, that school is gone. The churches, and different pastors' homes that pastor those churches. And so it's such a profound impact on the community that's why we do this. We want to keep our community lifted. We want to keep people knowing what's going on in the community, and even outsiders. We want them to know about Altadena, because you first hear about it, just like you all, it's a news story, right? It's the next disaster or the next big thing. And then months after, it's not. I remember seeing just this week, and we've all been watching the replays, and we're excited because this is the time of year that they pick our Tournament of Roses court for the Rose Parade.
Yeah.
And so one of the young ladies, the only African-American young lady who made it up to the point of the court, and she's on the court, her mom is a Muir alum, and she goes there now. So go Mustangs again. but there it is. So Jamal, Bryan, and I are all Mustang alum.
Oh, there you go.
Which is where Jackie Robinson went. And, we have this amazing school history. And the DJ of the Dodgers now, Lanier Stewart, DJ Severe, he's a Mustang alum. And so we are the best high school in Pasadena. And so in the Altadena, Pasadena area and Pasadena Unified, there's only 4, but 2 are rather small. And the 2 big ones, we are the powerhouse one. So anyway, with that though, yes, they were there, Jill and Daryl Qualls, and they were sitting off to the side, and we started talking about it. And that's when I was like, if somebody else said something about Pasadena behind me, a young lady, and I was like, oh, go Stangs or go Mustangs because of that, because everybody kind of knows what the running thing is. But the fact that now you are, and I am, part of this After the Fire community, and we may travel and go talk to others or whatever, it's, again, about community. And what can we do to make sure our community gets all the information that they need to get to become made whole, or as whole as possible, right? To me, and I said this yesterday, and I went on a rant, I won't today, but the whole thing with Edison and their offer it's a slap in the face when you tell renters who lost everything that, oh, you're not covered, only homeowners. And so we won't give you the $200,000. You'll get $100,000 for your pain and suffering. The stuff that they had might've been easily worth $100,000, their household goods and everything. And then homeowners, you're saying basically the same thing. Oh, we might give you, $900,000 total. But if your home was worth $1.5 million or $2 million, and your insurance has already paid you out or will pay you out $600-700 or whatever, Edison's saying $900, you're giving me $300, and we know it was your fault for that tower that should have been gone 51 years ago. Like, the audacity for them to say this is an offer And then even they're going to have to litigate these lawsuits, and people still may not. To me, a reasonable offer would be every single household, 6,200 that is gone, the houses that are burned down, we are going to pay you $1.5 million for each of those, because that's what our lots are worth, right? And that doesn't even begin to cover pain and suffering, trauma, or any of that. And to say that your pain and suffering as an adult is only worth $100,000 and as a child is only worth 50, when I tell you that is like you hit somebody with a baseball bat in your face, I think it's so insulting. And just yesterday, one of our classmates, Mark Carter, rest in peace, he passed away. He lost 3 properties and 3 lots, and 1 or 2 of them, he, because had his number and we would talk, had two houses on them. And he had a stroke, I guess, Thursday, and went in the hospital, and he died yesterday morning. And because I got the text either Wednesday or Thursday, did you know Mark was in the hospital, had a stroke? I was like, no. And I haven't talked to him in maybe a month. But he was telling me, Toni, everything that I've been able to amass, I'll be 60 at the end of the month. So most of us just hit 60 this year or about to. He's worked hard. He was able to get those lots and maintain and keep them. But the thing was, Steve, and this we found out a lot, he didn't have insurance because on all of them, he was working with his real estate attorney to change all the insurance on them. And the time when he was going to meet with him and sign it, he told me, was the following week. The fire happened a week before he was going to sign all his insurance documents for all 3 lots. So I told him, I said, well, what are you going to do? And he was like, well, I could build the house myself. I've done construction, I can do this and that. But he had renters, but no rental agreement. And so you can't go to SBA and FEMA and get loans. And then he's not working. He's retired, so he couldn't get loans. So he was under a lot of stress. So I told somebody the other day, I said, no wonder Mark had a stroke. And I'm praying he gets well or whatever. Then I got a text saying yesterday that he passed yesterday morning. So how devastating is it now that his daughter, I think he just has the one daughter, has to deal with losing her father, all the lots. She'll become the heir on all the lots, but same thing. She's got to either sell or, because I said, well, do you want to sell one to liquidate so you could build the others back, right? Because you have extra, because you can still get good money. And he was like, I don't know, Toni, if I want to do that or what. But now she's got to deal with all of it, right? And so that to me is the stuff that Edison does not take into consideration. And you guys up there, I think, were PG&E, but they don't take that into consideration. Now she got to deal with the fact that she lost her father. So that should be, in my opinion, lumped in with the lawsuit, because we're 8 months out and he's gone now because he was so stressed that he had a stroke. And,
you talk about how many people have lost, in Coffee Park, we lost, 1, 2, 3. I have to count trees. In our front entry, we have 5 cherry trees planted, and they're all planted in honor of the people that were lost. But you don't talk about the people that the fire or the event affected them to the point where they're no longer with us. Like that the stress of dealing with that fire. I know people that have passed away within 6 months of the fire, lots of people. And would they have passed away if they weren't in that fire? I don't know, but it's a shame to think that you go through that event and then you go through another event like that. I've heard the same. Everybody's got a story. I've heard the same story about insurance and people losing insurance and everything. My wife Michelle and I, we have changed the way we live our life. Like every day is a special occasion. We don't save anything for a special occasion. If we get a bottle of wine from a friend of ours, we might eat it with Taco Bell. I don't care. It's like
it changes you, right?
Changes you. And so, things you used to collect, whether it was baseball cards or teacups,
they're gone.
They're gone. So then you can either say I lost everything or I have a fresh start to collect something new. I don't know. But you go through all that brain power. There's no if you don't take care of yourself emotionally and mentally, you're not doing yourself better. I went to, quick story, my mom after the fire became a poet. She likes to write stories and do poetry. So they had a reading Tuesday night. We went to it. Well, unfortunately, it was an anniversary about the fire. So all the poems were about fire. And I'm pretty adjusted to dealing with this, I feel like, until they started reading those poems. And I got through, there was 9 poets, 18 poems, and I got through 3, and I went outside and only came in to listen to my mom's. But other than that, I could not stay in the room. And I was, it's 8 years later, hands clammy, still to this day, dealing with PTSD from it.
Well, so, and Marcus said it, right? The stress can be a silent killer. Mm-hmm. But that's so incredibly important, because the thing about it, we may not think about it, and we're new. We're not a year in, right?
Right.
But it's ups and downs, like a roller coaster, right? Oh. We could be talking, and next thing you know, I could be talking to somebody, and I just bust out crying.
Yeah.
Because what happened for me is, I think about my parents, 57 years, and what it was like for them to be able to get that house back when there was redlining and lots of racism and all this, right? And then they've traveled everywhere. They've been to Africa, to Europe and Spain and China and everywhere, and brought things back. And my brother, my daughter, and my nephew were able to get some things out, but everything else is gone.
Yeah.
And it can't be replaced, because at 88 and 83, they're not doing trips like that anymore, right? Yeah. And so for Edison to disregard people and say your pain and suffering is worth $100,000, that's like spitting in their face to me.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I was saying yesterday. That's what makes me angry. Yes, we can choose to stay mad about or choose not to stay mad about our town being vacant right now. But I choose to also drive through there once a week and look and smile at the houses that not only have a foundation, but the walls are up, the roofs are on, the sheathing is up, the Tyvek wrap is up, the windows are in, because some of these people will be home by Thanksgiving. Some will be home by Christmas. Some will be home before that 1-year anniversary, January 7th. And speaking of that, you talked about your anniversary, and I know you guys are 5 days away from your anniversary in the Tubbs fire. But when we were at the summit, we spoke about the date of the 8th. A lot of these fires, the Lahaina fire was the 8th of August. We were the 7th and 8th of January. You guys were the 7th, 8th, 9th of October.
October, yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Paradise was the 8th also.
The 8th, exactly. And it's so crazy that, and I do believe that's coincidental. You got a lot of people that are conspiracy theorists and are like, no, they're burning our towns down because they want to make them all smart cities, or they want to buy it, take our land. And in the beginning, people, I believe in a panic, were like, I got to sell. I can't rebuild. I can't deal with this. I'm going to sell. And a lot of the older ones that were like, I'll take the money, go retire somewhere and be good. But we've noticed a slowdown, right? There's 198 lots that have been sold. And I always tell people when they say, oh, they're going to take all our land, they're going to gentrify, they're going to do this. I said, slow down, take a breath, because 198 lots sold out of 6,200 or 5,800, the number is somewhere in there. That's not a whole lot. We're not at 10%. And if you look at what the trends were prior, they would have done them. And then now people aren't selling for 300 and 400 like they were. They're like, no, my stuff is worth 900,000. So if you want it, and then you want to build $1 million house on top of it for whatever it costs, then you want to have 20,000 a year in property tax. Yeah, so but you're going to fight for this, right? Right. So
and Toni, that number is staggeringly low, because I think about like Coffee Park, 1,400 homes. And there were some big builders, the builders that have their spec plans, they're coming out and they're saying, okay, this house will fit on your lot. We can build this, and it's this much a square foot, and we'll do this, or we'll buy your lot. You have two choices. You could, because honestly, there are people, like your parents, don't have the energy or the stamina or the desire to rebuild. A lot of people were just thinking, hey, I'm going to leave the state. I can't afford to live in California anymore. I'm going to leave the state. I lost everything. My entire life is reduced to a dollar figure. It's very
Right.
easy for me to say, here's the dollars that I have to work with for the rest of my life and move on. You know, after our fire, one of the things that we noticed a lot was a lot of divorce about a year after the fire. Because if you think about it, you're not arguing over who gets grandma's Victrola. You're arguing over you've been reduced to a dollar number. And it's very easy at that point to say, you know what? We have $1 million. I don't love you. Here's a $500,000. I'm a $500,000 and we leave. We don't have to argue over anything. It's just money. It's amazing how many divorces, the uptick of divorces after a year in Sonoma County.
I'm sad to hear that. I haven't heard that yet in Altadena, and hopefully I don't hear about that a lot, but that's really sad, although I can understand. And I'm still kind of fighting with my parents because, and I'll just be honest, they watch too. Mom might be watching. She'll probably laugh or whatever. But at first they were like, yeah, we're gonna rebuild. And then they went to this guy that told them it would take 2 years and money that it shouldn't and does not. And I think what happened was they got paralyzed with fear because that sum was ridiculous, $1.5 million to rebuild in 2 years and stuff. And so my dad was, my mom went, she line dances and she was out of town a few weeks ago. And so me, my brother and my sister were just taking, shifts, hanging out with my dad or whatever, because he's deteriorated a lot since the fires. And we just want to make sure he's good. And she was going to be gone for the weekend. So I was there and I did talk to him about it. And he said, why are you trying to force us to rebuild? We don't want to rebuild, damn it. And I was like, hold up, And so I explained to him again, this is your legacy. You have always you've had it 57, now 58 years or whatever. Or it was 56 and a half years. They bought it when the fire happened, but June 24th was like 57 years that they have had that property, right? And so I said, Daddy, this is your legacy. You built this, and you not built from the ground up, but you've built what was here, right? You deserve to be able to live your latter years, whatever. He might live till he's 100, but in your home. Rebuild it and live in your home, even if it's built the exact same as what it was, so they're familiar with the hall and the kitchen and the stuff like that. I remember telling my mom right afterwards, oh girl, now you can get the bathroom and the kitchens you want, because all these years you've wanted upgrades and Daddy has told you no, type thing, to just try to make it, make her feel a little better. And she was like, oh, you're right, but so I told him, I said, well, what if Mom wants to rebuild? What if she changes her mind and decides she wants to rebuild? And he looked at me, he said, then we'll rebuild, damn it. Like that. But because I want to keep it in the forefront for them that, yes, at 8 months, you might still be feeling some kind of way because a few months ago, you were paralyzed into fear by the cost or the length of time. But when we got probably 20 houses, if you drive all over, and they are up, and people will be back in them, and others that are groundbreaking every week, and they'll be up within 6 months. I think once they see that, they may feel a little different. And if they see ones on their own block starting to go up, they may feel a little different. Right. But I wanted to ask him that because if in fact in 6 months they change their mind, or my mother changes her mind, because my father, they're old school, right? 88 and 83. And he wants to protect my mother. They've been married 65 years. And so for her to be in the car crying because they had already done the loan with SBA, and the lady calls her and says, oh, you got to redo everything in the portal. She's like, why? I've already been approved. Why? And they, oh, you just have to. And they got off the phone and she just bawled, right? That's when my dad made the decision between what they were told by this guy, this architect, and that. He was like, we're not rebuilding. But I personally think I see in my mother's eyes that she wants to be back at home. They're a few cities over, so they go constantly now. And I'm thankful to the senior center, and they're being more involved and engaged with seniors that were their friends and things like that. And she line dances. So all of her, practices are at where she used to be. So I think that that's important that, yes, it might be 8 months out or a year out or something like that, but keep an open mind that you can still rebuild if you want to, regardless of age or anything. We got a 98-year-old Brian, who's not on right now, but he's either watching or might pop in. His soon-to-be mother-in-law is rebuilding. She was like, oh, I'm rebuilding my house. and lots, that are up there. Did you guys have a lot of seniors that had the loss, and was it super challenging for them as well?
Yeah, I mean, some, like you said, determined, and we're going to rebuild because, damn it, no one's going to take their life away from them.
Right.
And then we had the seniors that looked at that giant mountain, looked up there and said, I can't climb that mountain. And they sold and they moved on. Then you have the optimistic seniors that I lived in a 2-story house. I needed to move because I couldn't go up those stairs anymore. I'm going to downsize to buy a 1-story. I'm going to rebuild a 1-story house, and I can be here for the rest of my life. And I might build it where there's a caregiver room off the kitchen downstairs, or the other side of the house. So then I could have someone come and caregive for me, or I could bring in community or bring in family to take care of me. So there was some of that took place. There was also some people that made a large lot and made it into a duplex so that they had some rental property on their property and in the house. So there was different formulas. But when I hear you talk, my brain is just going crazy because I'm going back into like 7 years ago and 5 years ago, and I think about that whole process, like what I would have done differently. We took our old house and we said, here's the floor plan of our old house. We were able to find the floor plan because we're in a tract development.
Oh, nice.
We didn't like the kitchen, and we didn't like this. Everything else was okay. So we just updated everything and moved some stuff around in the same footprint, which tend to be a little bit less anxiety for us to try to rebuild. Okay. Some people are all about, I visualize what I want to do. I'm going to do this, and they go forward regardless of, obviously money plays a role in this, but just the process in your head. Then there's the people that were very certain that just wanted a builder that does large scale building. They give you 5 choices, the vanilla, 5 choices of houses and chocolate vanilla and strawberry on the finishes. And it's anxiety, and they've already established the paint colors with this and that. You're getting your new kitchen, and it's palatable. There's more certainty because we're all living in an uncertain world right now with this fire. And so there's all those different methods for getting into your home. And if you know them, it's less anxious than if you go in there and it's like going to the grocery store and say, what are we going to have for dinner? And you're hungry. It's overwhelming. You know? What are you guys doing for the community right now to help support the people that are rebuilding, and just, are you doing anything to build up more hope and happiness?
Yeah, so part of it obviously is this talk show, and I did want to segue into that and talk about the things that you did in Coffee Park and with Coffee Strong. Obviously, we've had a ton of groups pop up because so Altadena is really unique because it is unincorporated, but it's such a eclectic place to live, right? There's no tract homes. Everything looks different. We're extremely diverse, and all cultures, and pretty much accepted. Everybody accepts, one another, and it's a beautiful place to live. And as you see behind me, this would be looking up, and you've been to Altadena, but this would be looking down into Pasadena, and you can see over to LA and all that, but that's Altadena Drive, and that's our main street. That church is Westminster, and over just past where the Altadena Drive sign is, you can still see the clock tower or bell tower for our junior high school, Elliott. And it is going to remain. They have start taking other things down, but they are going to keep the clock tower. We had to really go to bat and say, PUSD, please don't, as long as it's structurally sound, let's make sure that it stays. And it was. But obviously, we've been doing this, right? 187 shows in. But one thing that we at AltadenaTalks are doing, and then we'll talk about other stuff that's happening in the community, but we are having our first event in November. We were going to do a barbecue in October, but it was like October then November. So we've postponed, and we're going to do it in the spring, late spring, right before it gets too hot in the summer. But on November 22nd, we've announced the Day of Thanks, and we are going to, even during our announcements, Jamal will put it up. There's a QR code. I had 2 other families sign up yesterday. So, more people are beginning to sign up, which is good. and we're going to be feeding the community up to 1,000 people, hopefully, and looking for sponsors, because not only do we want to feed them, but we want every family to leave with a gift card that can go towards helping them for the next Thursday, which is Thanksgiving. However they celebrate, doesn't matter. You don't have to have a traditional, meal or whatever your culture does or whatever you want to do. We want to really just love on our community. But we have seen grassroots groups, right? They're getting together saying, hey, let's have this monthly dining. I think it's called the Altadena Dining Club or something like that. But they meet at a restaurant once a month. They meet at bars. The Eaton Fire Survivors Network, Joy Chin sends all these emails out with newsletters, but then they're doing things like suing Edison and, different things to make sure. And then we're encouraging people here, and others are obviously as well, encouraging people to support local businesses that are still open. So on Lake Avenue, there's some Maya restaurant. It's a Thai restaurant, and some others right there. There's a bar over on Lincoln, but there's a lot of businesses that had to temporarily shut down, and they're back open. So it's like when I go up there once a week, when I drive out and go through there, I try to go and pick up something, right? Go eat something or whatever, even though I may be trying to watch my budget. I'm like, nope, I'm here. I got to support, got to go into the town. And I think that that's super important, because there's a ton of groups that are out there doing great grassroots work, but having gatherings, being part of the gatherings. We go to almost every event or several on the weekends, and we record or take pictures, and then we do a recap show on Mondays so people here can see what happened on the weekend, because Jamal does the announcements of what's happening, and then Brian and I generally go out. Jamal was out Saturday with us at an event and where they were live. So that's the things we are currently doing. What is it you all did with Coffee Strong and that event you just recently had, which was a music event?
Yeah, so we first started with, just raising money. We were trying to become a nonprofit and trying to bring the community together. So we just came up with any kind of crazy idea to raise money. And so we would do, we did a celebrity bingo. So one night we got a big hall. We brought in a local celebrity, whether it was a chef. We had a Giants, San Francisco Giants ball player that did it one time. And so we just brought it, or local politician who's well loved, and brought him in. And so we just had these different bingo nights, and the bingo caller was a celebrity. And so, and everybody, we did this whole thing, and we got a bunch of raffle prizes. We would do, you could buy raffle tickets, you could buy bingo cards, and it would make about $4,000 an event. And, $4,000 bought trees for everybody in the neighborhood. So, things like that. So things like we did about 3 or 4 bingo nights. Then there would be the entryway. You're going to end up with these pieces of land that were given to the community, right? They're not quite taken by the city, and they're not owned by somebody. So there were some landscaping areas. So we took those on as orphan land and said, okay, we're going to raise money to help. We're going to have grant writing. We'd reach out to everybody, Target, anything that wanted to donate money. And so those are the kind of things we would do for fundraising events. But then we would just do clean community events. I mean, I think it's been noted before that we used to do a Wine Wednesday. Because we're in Suffolk County, we're in the middle of the wine, but it wasn't wine W-I-N-E, it was W-H-I-N-E, right? So it was more about come and sit with your community, and it was in a court that was burned out and from the fire. Bring some tables, I'd bring the hot dogs and a barbecue, and people would sit there and just talk about what their process is, where they're at in the process. Hey, I'm getting ready to have concrete done. Oh, I'm ready to have wallpaper put on. Do you know anybody that does wallpaper? So it's just a nice little way to teacher kind of thing. Ask your friend to have things. And so it also built community, because some people were people you never talked before, right? And
Absolutely.
And then we kept going. And then it was okay, now what else can we do to help community? So then we would do framing parties. So a framing party would be, you go vertical. And once it's getting ready to be sheetrocked, we would invite our neighbors in, and everybody would write words of hope on all the walls. We'd bring out a bunch of Sharpies, and people would write these. I mean, I know some of the pictures I have of some of the stuff on my walls, and it's already making me cry. So So it's and it was really cool because like I can sit on the couch and I can look through the sheetrock and visualize what's
Where
written behind
it is.
It's all
And
love.
do you do anything like put a special momentum within the wall or anything like that too? Like a time capsule type thing? Yeah. That, I spoke about that early on, and I really want to encourage people to think about that, because I said, let's have volunteers, meaning especially with what we see with ICE and all the foolishness. Yeah. If there's a labor shortage, then as the block has a house go up, everybody show up, and under the direction of the site foreman or whatever, volunteer. Do you need me to sling a hammer to help as you're framing this on the ground, right? And then men that are strong enough to help lift those walls up while they're being bolted in, whatever, to frame. What do you need from the community? What do you need from your neighbor to get it done and to build your home? And so I think that that's super important that you're saying you guys had the parties. I think it would be great not only to have, whether you do a time capsule or write on your drywall or on the sheathing or something, people might want to write a scripture or a poem or something that really means something to them. And then, come help drywall too, or come help, whatever.
You probably have some workman's comp issues there, but I will tell you.
But people can get that other insurance, that risk insurance, so that anybody who's on their lot are automatically covered, and the homeowner is covered if they get hurt. So, and we've talked about that. Like, make sure you get that builder's risk insurance that covers anybody. And my parents' insurance, USAA, told them to do it before the Army Corps got on their lot, because it said it would also cover them. So even though they were there with equipment and were cleaning and were covered under their contracting company, USAA was like, nope, get the policy now. We cancel your regular home insurance, but get this one, because anybody that steps on your lot couldn't say they got hurt on your lot and try to sue you. So this would cover that. So yes, there could be issues, but there could be a solution for that also.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, it's there's so many moving parts, right? It's constantly, you make one decision here and it affects 8 things over here, and then you think you fix those 8 and it creates 16 over here. I get it, and it's, you're chasing your tail half the time, but just keep moving forward. I mean, I every time I came up with a new idea, it was like, okay, what if we do this? So going back to like 2 weeks ago, so a year ago, so after Coffee Park got rebuilt and we felt like Coffee Strong, Jeff Okrepke, who was the founder, and a group of us all kind of started this thing, and now he moved on to city council. So he's still helping his community. Mm-hmm. And so we all then, after that, my wife wanted to give back to the community. She was really involved with the park. We have a park that was lost in the fire, and there was a lot of energy put into that. And that was her passion. Everybody found their passion to work on, right? And so Kaiser was a great donator to help rebuild our park.
Nice.
And we have a dog park now. We have a lot of different stuff. So we wanted to celebrate the park. So she put up a music event last year called Saturday in the Park. And we raised money. A lot of it came from local contractors. So keep in mind, when you talk about sponsors, every contractor that's building, the best sponsorship is advertising by you saying,
that's right.
Interstate Builders gave us $1,000 to help put trees on the corner of Altadena Drive and First Street, right? Or whatever.
The contractors and the attorneys.
Yes.
Because all of you want clients, so put back into our community.
Yes, and so the first event we had last year, our paving contractor was out there and he was happy to donate. So we had a larger event, big stage, 5 bands, but it was free to the community. Come and sit on the park, and we had vendors. It was during COVID, so lots of people became DIYers and made shirts and tie dyes and everything. We had 40 vendors selling their stuff. We had 1,000 people there. It was incredible. And then, so last year, the money wasn't quite as there. So we did it for this year. We did it at a local brewery here, but it's a local business that went through the fire. They have employees at lots of places. And so they donated the facility. We had 400 or 500 people there and 5 bands. And again, money. And we're going to continue to do it every year. And it's whatever we can do. It's not a city event. It's a private event.
Right.
My wife and I just do it out of love for our community. but it's amazing. Like, I can't go to Trader Joe's. Before the fire, I'd go to Trader Joe's. I can get in and out and be home in 20 minutes. Now you go to Trader Joe's and it's like, hey, Quincy, hey, Bob, hey, you ran into all your neighbors. Next thing you know, your wife's texting you, go, did you go to the Trader Joe's? And
right.
No.
Right, because you're in there an hour now, like going to Target or something. But that's the beauty of community, right? And like we've heard with this dining club, people are saying, you know, oh, this is where I lived, or this is my address. And they're like, wait a minute, that means you were 2 doors down from me. And they were like, oh, you're my neighbor, and never knew each other. And now they know each other. They have each other's phone number. They're becoming close. And that's what is so needed, because when you're rebuilt, you're a much better community, and you know your neighbors.
Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, I like I said, everybody's got a dog now, because everybody got dogs during COVID, right? And so now you go outside, like yesterday, it rained here yesterday, about 6 o'clock, the sun came out. It looked like a dog park. Everybody's walking their dog, but no one's walking. Everybody's on the corner talking to their neighbor. And the dog is sitting there going, I'm here for a walk. Get me going, you know? So
that's cool.
I talk to the neighbor sometimes, and I own an electrical contracting company, so my name's on the door, and I think people think I'm stalking them, but half the time I'm just driving around the neighborhood and smiles, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the beauty again of the flip side of this, right? We've had such devastation, but I believe in beauty for ashes. So we literally have ashes, and that happens to be biblical, like a scripture, right?
Sure.
But, and it talks about how God will give you beauty for ashes. We now have all these ashes, but the beauty that's coming out of it, and people are saying, yeah, we'll rise up like a phoenix out of the ashes. The beauty that's actually coming out of this tragedy, and we lost, I think, a total of 24 people. They've located 18, but there's others still, you know, unaccounted for. So I think it's a total of about 24. But neighbors now, we've always been close-knit and kind of did neighborhood watch and knew our neighbors' phone numbers. So I know they've come in and said, oh, you guys need a block captain. Some blocks are like, yeah, we'll do it. And others are like, no, because we already have each other's phone numbers and all that, right? Which is great. But if it helps you know your neighbor better, whether you have a block captain or not, that's great. Block captains, I think, are beneficial to make sure the information gets out that people need, and to maybe say, hey, this builder is building this many houses. If you want to talk to them, this is how to get in touch with them or whatever. So there's good to block captains and the whole thing of having them, but it's up to each block or community if that works for them. And if not, that's fine, right? You move past that and you just go on. But the fact is, so much comes out of, and Jennifer was on here. Excuse me, I need to do a follow-up with her, because the day she was on here, her internet was horrible. When we were up at the summit, I met her husband, and she said, oh, yeah. I said, oh, yeah, you're the one. She told me that, found out she had kicked out the Ethernet cord or something and didn't know. So literally it was a horrible, you know, our communication. So she's like, I got to come back on. I got to come back home. So, yeah. So we do have a question that says, did your community's homes change? Hold on, I'll put it up. We'll pop it up.
I got it. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, quite a bit. Some people were fear of change, so they built exactly what they had before, even the same paint colors from 1986. And then we had people that really dramatically changed their house, not just single story to two-story, two-story to single story, but also beach houses with a spiral staircase and a fish pond in the backyard, because you can create what you want. And it's really about what you can advocate for yourself, right? Like, what can you visualize, envision, whether you're underinsured or overinsured. No one's overinsured, let's be honest. But if you're underinsured, but
I know somebody that is.
Well,
I just found out they have 4 insurance policies on their house, 4 different ones, and are going to be able to build whatever they want, which is great. But yes, the 199.99% of people are not overinsured. Right. They're more likely to be underinsured, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But even with that, let's talk about that for a minute, Steve, because there's so many resources out here that aren't even just, oh, you got to go get a loan from the SBA or whoever. There's the Mennonites. There's, a lot of things are income qualifying, but there are people, there are resources, there are companies that are like, we will help you rebuild your home. at what your budget is. And some that had no insurance whatsoever, they can still get their home rebuilt. Now, it will be your primary home. If you had 2 or 3 or different lots, that's on you to take care of those, but they will help rebuild your home, some at low cost or within your budget, and some at no cost to you, if you can prove that you have, expended all your resources. But how much of that affected your community?
Those type of programs were invented from our fire. Like, we didn't have a lot. Yeah, we didn't have a lot of resources. We had SBA loan, and when we first did it, it was more hassle than it was worth. It didn't really, there's so many regulations that it fell into of where you can use it. There was some private money that was out there. There were some banks and organizations that were trying to figure out how they can do it. We were even trying to figure out how to suspend mortgages so people could afford. But we didn't have that kind of resources. But there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of nonprofits that have money that they're willing to help people get back in their house. You want to find that database. I mean, I don't know who got it, but there's got to be a database somewhere where you can find all those resources. And there's so many. With AI and everything that's around now, I mean, it's crazy, the technology. Like, we used to literally, 1794 Waring Court, not rebuilt, as opposed to the technology now. So
looking it up online. Yeah. So Marcus says, thanks so much. Marcus is one that I told you throughout his family, there are 9 homes that were lost. But he says, thanks so much, Steve, for sharing, which is also Jamal's family, by the way, because they're cousins. Sharing your journey and taking an interest in providing insight to our beautiful Altadena. I appreciate you. I just want to say this, because we got about 7 more minutes. I know that you have things on your calendar, and I do as well, that I have to hard stop today. But you are going to come down and be part of our event on the 22nd. I will probably have you briefly talk when we introduce you, but you have agreed. You've also told Jennifer about it. It would be great to see some After the Fire folks there, but you're going to come down and be part of our Day of Thanks on November 22nd. And I'm super thankful. You were trying to get your days together because your daughter's birthday is in the 13th-ish, that weekend of November. And after the fire folks are coming down that weekend, and they wanted you to come, and you were low because my daughter's birthday. But then when we talked, I said, I'm having this on the 20th. Immediately, you didn't say, I'll think about it. You said, I will be there. And so the fact that you, having been in this fire, lost all your stuff in 17, that you want to come and support us. I'll get emotional, but thank you so much, Steve, because again, this is an amazing community. Altadena is, as I'm sure yours is, and to just come and say, I'm there, right? You didn't hesitate. You're like, I'm there. So people can meet you and hear from you and even just get a hug. And, I told you we're looking for sponsors and we want to give gift cards. And you said, I might even bring gift cards with me. So just the fact that your heart, because of what you've gone through, is so connected to us, I'm thankful for you.
Toni, there's silver linings out of these fires and stuff. And I've got a tremendous, now you're making me cry. I have a tremendous amount of our family. And I'm proud to have you part of my fire family.
Thank you. Yeah.
Steve, I just wanted to kind of pop in and say thank you, kind of like what Marcus was saying, and obviously Toni, you mentioned being part of the fire family. I think you're giving folks light at the end of the tunnel, meaning you kind of see what ultimately is going to happen when they're kind of finished, they're back in their homes, they're back with their neighbors. Some things may be the same, but a lot of it is going to be different. But it's going to be it's going to be a good thing. It's going to be okay. And I thank you for kind of giving that comfort. I could just see the ease in you. I'm not saying it's an easy road to go from where everything burnt down to where you are now, but there again is light at the end of the tunnel, and I thank you for providing that.
Oh no, I really appreciate it.
You probably didn't think 8 years ago that you'd be where you are, part of the Fire family, smiling. And yes, like I said, 1 minute we may cry, but then smiling in just 8 years when it happened. And a lot of people in Altadena, 8 months, almost 9 months in, are like, when will something change? When will this happen? Because like Jamal said, there's a tunnel that's dark, right? And you help provide light now at the end of that tunnel. And so I'm so glad that we did meet down here and then reconnected up there, and you agreed to come on. This will be an ongoing conversation with us. We will always stay connected. But I'm super thankful that you came on today.
That's right. Marcus looks forward to meeting you. I do as well as I'm sure many folks in the community. We appreciate you popping up, coming on.
November 22nd, November.
Yeah, it's November 22nd. You'll be here, and I'm super excited about it. Can't wait for you to enjoy our community. And thank you for coming down as many times as you have and touring our town. And I know for you that was probably a trigger because it was like, oh wow, but you stuck with it, and you're going to in the future. So thank you. Bless you.
Awesome. Okay, guys.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Steve. Have a good day. Take care.
Bye-bye.
I literally have about 3 or 4 minutes. My call starts at 11:05, but
you can go whenever you need to. I thought that was amazing conversation. I'm glad you're able to bring him on. I wasn't quite sure, having looked at the website and hearing what you were saying, what he was going to say, but I'm glad he said what he did. And like I said, it felt to me like definitely what I said. He has given us light at the end of the tunnel, seeing what it's going to be. That it's going to be okay. It's going to take time, but if you're able to stick with it and be part of the community once it's rebuilt, it's going to be a good thing. I really think
it really is. I do too. We've got. I will say this before I pop off. I will be on tomorrow. Obviously, that'll be our Friday. But we've got some good folks coming on this month. I am going to reach back out to Jennifer, but next Tuesday, Dr. Tamitra Clark is going to come back on. I have to text her today or call her. But I wasn't on. I think I was in Greece when she came on or something. And I know that there were some internet issues as well. Right, technical difficulties. So she wanted to come back on. She reached out to Jamal recently. She's going to be on with me next Tuesday. On the following Tuesday, October 14th, I'm not saying who because I have to wait for the 9th, but I have some people lined up. But on the 14th, Jim Brooks, he is the new CEO of Team Rubicon. And so he will be on with us. And I just got that confirmation through email and text at the beginning of the show. And I'm super excited because he started a week prior to the last time when I was up doing the fencing, or maybe 2 weeks prior. And his mother's home, he grew up, he's a Pasadena kid too. I think he's a year or two younger than me. So right around Brian and you. But he went to, did he say St. Anne's for K through whatever. And then he went to St. Francis and same years as my brother. And his mom lived on El Molino, just off of Lake to the east of it. So her house is gone. So he came up to serve the community. And when I say he came to serve, the day that I was out there with the execs from TikTok and he was there, he had on, boots like we did. And he was doing everything. He put in the work. He wasn't like, oh, I'm the CEO and whatever. He came to serve. And when I say Jim served, and he has such a humble servant's heart and a connection to our community. So it was surreal for him. So I'm excited that he is going to be on with us on October 14th. And then we've got other people. Michael Anderson, I think, is coming on the 23rd. On the 28th, 23rd, one of the two. But I'm filling up our show schedule for October and maybe a little into November. So I'm trying to really get some good people in here for you all. If there's anybody watching that you think someone would be beneficial that you all want to hear from, please let me know. We try to reach out to whom we can. I do need to get Catherine Barger. I do need to get John Harabedian and Judy Chu, on depending on what they're doing. I think Judy Chu is back in Washington right now. I know there's a shutdown, so she might be here, but they're trying to work some things out, right? But anyway, I'll try to get whoever I believe can come on and help and shed light for Altadenians and for our town. And of course, Pasadena as well. We know Pasadena Sierra Madre. We asked Brandon Lamar a long time ago to come on, and he keeps saying, I am, Tony, I am. We go to the same church. She's one of my youth pastors, or young adult pastor, I think, or something. And Brandon hasn't come on yet. And I'm okay with that because Brandon is like a double Jamaican. Brandon has 10 jobs, not just Pasadena NAACP president, executive director of Harambe, youth young adult pastor, Victory Bible Church, but he's on several other boards. And so I will get Brandon on at some point because now he's very intricate in what's happening with the Eat and Fire Collaborative as well. And so I think on that board or whatever. And so I really want him to come on and just shed light on everything. I might try to get him on next Thursday, the 9th, but I've got to work with him on his schedule because we know
you can book him multiple days in advance.
Exactly.
I have a wealth of information to share.
He's got amazing info. But I got to jump off for this work call. This starts in 3 minutes. So I'm going to do that. If I have time, if you're still on, I'll pop back on. But if not, toodles. I will see everyone tomorrow. Thank you for all you do. And Brian, I know you're probably watching, or you might not be. You might be asleep, which might be good. Right. But either way, we'll jump on tomorrow. I'll see everybody. And thank you for tuning in so you could hear from Steve. And I look forward to many of you out there coming to the event and meeting him on the 22nd. And just a quick recap. Yeah, we only have 23 people right now, technically, that are signed up for the event and 6 families, but y'all better get on it because like I said, when this goes out, I did send it to Mark Marscale yesterday, but I need to send it to actually Rotary and Town Council and all of that. I think it's going to blow up and we don't want the spots to be gone. So you all have a wonderful day. And thanks for all that you do, Jamal, and the announcements. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Toni. Have a great day. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So everybody, I want to piggyback on what Toni had said. She's booking up all the different slots for her Toni Talks segment, which is Tuesdays and Thursdays. What we do is we find people and we turn them over to her. She does the vetting and does the scheduling, what have you. But if you know of anyone that you want to hear from, or you think they have a message that the rest of the folks who tune in either live or watch a video later on might be interested in hearing about, please let us know. You can send a message on, the chat or the comments while we're live, or you can actually send a message to us at multiple different places, info@AltadenaTalks.com. It could be AltadenaTalks@gmail.com, multiple different locations. Or if you know myself, Brian, or Toni directly, just shoot us a message. In addition to that, this is something that we've mentioned many a times before as well, is we'd love to have members of the community come on and, kind of share your story. And Marcus has come on multiple times. Yeah, he's family, but he's also a victim, right? And he's or a survivor, shall I say? And he has shared what he's been going through with both his family, his direct family, wife and kids, in addition to his mom, his aunties, and all that kind of stuff as well, and extended family. But we would love to have other folks come on. Let us know where you are at this point. You might still just be dealing with your insurance, but we'd love to hear about it. Or do you have any wins? Do you have any struggles? We also would love to have some historians. I know Toni is one of our local historians because she has a lot of information related to the history of Altadena. Her family has been part of a lot of that, so it's kind of in. She kind of grew up with that knowledge, but I know that there's a lot of other community members who know some history, and it could be pretty cool to learn some more of the history about Altadena from different perspectives as well. So with that said, we're going to put out a few documents soon, which will allow you to go ahead and just sign up if you're interested in speaking just as a community member. So look out for that, and we'll probably put a flyer as well as a QR code on the screen. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and do the announcements. I'm going to do the whole thing, so it'll be a little while. But at the end, I'll say a little bit and probably say peace. You know how we do. So here we go. All right, folks, as usual, I'm going to start with the Altadena Community Center, which is also posing as a survivor support location. It's located at 730 East Altadena Drive in Altadena. There are several services that are there: the SBA, DCBA, Treasurer and Tax Collector, and the Assessor's Office. They're available again Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And if you have any questions, you can reach out at 626-398-6174. Also, there is the LA County One-Stop Permit Center right there in Altadena at 464 West Woodbury Road, Suite 210. They have walk-in hours, so you can just go on in Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30, or you can actually schedule an appointment as a one-on-one or with the small group with the rebuild team. Those are available Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. or Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. You can also set up an appointment with the Southern California Edison Planner. This is available Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 a.m. to noon. In order to schedule the appointment, you do have to go to recovery.lacounty.gov/rebuilding/one-stop-permit-centers. When you actually go there, you will have to scroll down to the bottom to get to the Altadena One-Stop Permit Center, and there is a link for you to schedule the appointment. Next, we actually have, LA County is waiving or refunding certain permit fees for homeowners rebuilding after the Eaton and Palisades fires. So basically, some homeowners who've already paid their fees, they can have them refunded, and others who have not yet paid their fees could potentially have their fees waived. Say potentially because there's certain things that qualifications you need to meet. So first one, of course, is you have to demonstrate that you both lived and owned your property prior to January 7th this year. In addition, there's only certain projects which are eligible. So those eligible projects are a replacement single-family home destroyed by either fire. This does include accessory structures like a pool, ADU, or garage, etc. In addition, standalone ADUs for temporary occupancy during rebuilding will also count as an eligible project. What's not eligible, however, are commercial properties, rentals, multifamily or temporary housing projects, or any property not damaged by the fires. So if you want to get a waiver or a refund, you do have to fill out a form, and you can get to that form by scanning the QR code on the screen, or you can go to the website, recovery.lacounty.gov. That's the common place we go everywhere. And then from there, you would go /fee-waivers-and-refunds. Once you go there, this form is, can be filled out online. Once you've completed it, you can add it as an attachment and send an email to recovery@planning.lacounty.gov, or you can print up a copy and walk it into the One-Stop Permit Center or the Altadena Community Center. The nice thing is you only need one form for all departments, so that's a good thing. We also have CalAssist Mortgage Fund. This is still going on. What it is 3 months of mortgage payments. They give you a grant potentially up to a max of $20,000. This never has to be paid back, and it is free to apply. If you do get the grant, just note that the grant is paid directly to the mortgage servicer and not to you. If you do apply, please be prepared to provide your mortgage statement, bank statements, utility bills, homeowner's insurance, or your FEMA claim, as well as your proof of income. Now, eligibility requirements are you must have your primary residence destroyed or considered uninhabitable due to a qualified disaster from the 1st of January of 2023 through the 8th of January of 2025, and the Eaton and Palisades fire obviously qualify as a disaster under those circumstances or those timelines. You also must own and occupy the home with up to 4 units on the property, as well as meet program income limits of a combined amount, total household of 140,700. One of the other things which is not listed on this particular flyer is that you do need to have had obviously a mortgage or a reverse mortgage in order for it to make any sense, right? Because they're giving you mortgage relief. Now, to apply for this, you would go to callisismortgagefund.org. And when you're there at the top of the page, there's a link that says apply. And once you're there, if you need some help, you can actually get some help over the phone by calling 800-501-0019 Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or if you'd like some help in person, you can go to one of two locations, one of which is the LA One Stop Rebuilding Center, which is at 1828 Sawtell Boulevard in LA. Or you can go to the Altadena Community Center at 730 East Altadena Drive in Altadena. This is available 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this is provided by Neighborhood Housing Services. I do want to remind you also that LA County, along with Supervisor Catherine Barger, they do have the weekly Altadena community meeting, which is every Monday. The next one will be this Monday coming up, October 6th. It will be at 4 p.m. In order to watch this, you want to go to their YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@County of Los Angeles Newsroom. It's actually a great place to go and get an update on what's going on. Now we move into the local stuff. So Hope Now CRC has the weekly talks, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at 1800 North Lake Avenue in Pasadena. On Mondays, they have Men Talk. On Wednesdays, they have Women's Talk. And then on Thursdays is Teen Talk. So definitely check these out. They say you can come as you are and leave even greater with revived hope. Sign up 24 hours in advance to ensure space and as a courtesy to the guests. You can get information on signing up at info@hopenowcrc.org, or you can go to the website at hopenowcrc.org. Excuse me. All right, Pasadena Village has the Centering Sounds free concert series. It is happening today, October 2nd, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Sierra Madre Playhouse, which is located at 87 West Sierra Madre Boulevard. Tonight, it's going to be Journey Through the Landscape of Jazz with Chad Edwards Ensemble. They're providing a free concert series for those impacted by the fires and the community to gather, build connections, and heal through music. And it is open to the public. However, there is limited space, so they are asking that you RSVP by scanning the QR code or by calling 626-765-6037. And as a reminder, also, there is the free farmers market, which is happening on Friday from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. or until supplies run out. And from what we understand, they do run out from time to time. So if you're interested, please go to 3541 Brandon Street, in Pasadena. And this is put on by Together We Thrive. And then Saturday, October 4th, this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the First Church of the Nazarene will be a rebuild and recovery workshop put on by the Neighborhood Housing Services and Restore the Legacy LA Coalition. This is going to be located at 3700 East Sierra Madre Boulevard in Pasadena. Some of the topics covered will be interim housing support, low-cost construction project management, technical support to select a general contractor or architect, mission-driven real estate services, whether you want to buy, sell, or rebuild, as well as estate planning legal services at no charge. Registration is online. You can go to nhslacounty.org/events, and you will be able to register there. And then also Saturday is the Black Education Expo, also called B, Educate, Inspire, and Inform, put on also co-presented by Pasadena Council member Tyrone Hampton. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Pasadena Convention Center, which is located at 300 East Green Street in Pasadena. It's a joyful SoCal community movement connecting K through 12 students, parents, and educators with 50 plus educational, wellness, and career resources. If you're interested in participating in this, please scan the QR code. There is free admission, all are welcome, and paid parking is on site and it is Metro accessible. If you want more information, you go to info@blackeducationexpo.com. The Fraternal Order of the Eaton, oh my goodness, let's start over again. The Fraternal Order of the Eagles, Altadena, is putting on the first annual Altadena Oktoberfest. It's a new multicultural tradition of joy, friendship, and entertainment for the entire Altadena community. It will be this Saturday, October 4th, from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. Location is 455 East Woodbury Road in Altadena. There will be a beer garden, live music and performers, great food and drink, carnival games, petting zoo, contests and prizes, face painting, Altadena vendors, and a silent auction. And please note that there is free admission. So if you got the time and want something to do, please check out Altadena's first annual Oktoberfest. Also Saturday, in this case from 8 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. is the semi-annual pancake breakfast put on by Altadena Grocery Outlet. This is going to benefit the Altadena Mountain Rescue Team, or AMRT, and other local organizations. Here or to go tickets are free. The tickets are available at the Sheriff Station, at El Patron Restaurant, at Grocery Outlet, or at AltadenaRotary.org. If you'd like to reach out to the Sheriff Station, you can reach out at 626-798-1131. Now, also on the 4th is Taste of Dena. They invite you to the next chapter. It's going to be a night of music, poetry, and connection. It is, again, it's going to be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. What am I missing here? Oh, they're going to honor this year's award winners, Victoria Knapp for Community Leader Award, as well as Modesto Nava for Library Staff Award. Please scan the QR code. Sorry, guys, I didn't put that new one on there. I'll do that soon. It's $25 a ticket. If you're able to scan it, maybe take a picture of this and enlarge the flyer until we actually get that other QR code put up there. And this is going to take place at the Altadena Library, which is 600 East Mariposa Street in Altadena. And LA Fire Justice, as we've mentioned, has many things going on a regular basis. I forgot the other one that happens today. So there is, I'm not mentioning right now. Well, this coming up Monday, October 6th, is Mental Health Monday. It's at their headquarters, which is 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100. This month's topic, because this is put on the first Monday of every month, is reclaiming sleep and rest. Marcus, you might want to pay attention to this one. I know sometimes you're still having some trouble sleeping, but the tagline is gaining control over your sleep patterns following disaster and loss. The guest speaker will be Saba Haroni Ilori, who's a licensed marriage and family therapist and board certified art therapist. This is going to happen from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Monday. And so a free recovery event, so your digital comeback. This is for some businesses. You get to build your digital growth and craft a resiliency plan. This is going to be next Wednesday, October 8th, from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Altadena Library, which is, again, 600 East Mariposa Street. Participants will leave with a business resiliency or resilience roadmap that will have customized preparedness plan, business community or continuity strategies, and recovery resources. In addition, resources on how to use digital tools. So this is actually a good event. If you have a business and you're interested in participating, please scan the QR code at the bottom of the page, or you can go to bit.ly/4, lowercase MAD, looks like L, the number 5, and a capital N. And then the Building Industry Association of Southern California and Builders for Better Communities Foundation is putting on a Rebuild LA Resource Fair. This is actually also, this is going to take place on Tuesday, October 14th, and it's going to be from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Noor, which is an event location at 300 East Colorado Boulevard, Suite 200. It is closer to to Marengo. I'm trying to multitask here. Sorry, folks. Give me a quick second here. Let me do this. All right, good. All right. So basically, if you're planning to do your rebuild, they have experts that can answer your questions about material services and next steps. The Building Industry Association of Southern California members have been building homes in Southern California region for over 100 years and are pleased to offer their expertise as you navigate the complex rebuilding process. Meet the trades you need to help your rebuild, ask questions about the process, be educated on fire-resistant materials, get advice on insurance issues, permits, and much, much more. Admission is free for those who lost their homes, but they still request that you register. So you do so by going to B as in boy, IA, S as in Sam, C as in cat, .org/events. And for more information, you can contact one of two people. The first is Melissa Otten at melissa@homeaid.ocla.org, or reaching out to Patrice Quisenberry at patriceq@williamsrebuild.com. And then last but not least, let me get our other QR code up there. There we go. Last but not least is AltadenaTalks Foundation's presenting a Day of Thanks Community Luncheon, which is going to be Saturday, November 22nd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to be at the Loma Alta Park Gymnasium, which is located at 3330 North Lincoln Avenue in Altadena. We do have the QR code on the flyer, as well as one actually in the upper left corner of our screen. They both work. They both go to the same location. We do encourage you to sign up. This is the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So if you're in town and you're looking for a way to reconnect with some members of the community, meet some new friends, maybe get a little bit of information, because we may have a few speakers, and also, last but not least, get a nice tasty free meal, then definitely please scan the QR code and definitely check this out. We love to see you. Our capacity is 1,000. I know we don't have a whole lot going on right now, but we have limited our distribution of this flyer and the information, and we are beginning to expand that yesterday and today and moving forward. So don't even take a chance. If you're interested, go ahead and get your seat, and you can register for your whole family and share it with your friends. Again, Marcus did this right there at the event, at the block party when we were there on Saturday. I appreciated him doing that, and we hope that you are interested and want to participate and join us on November 22nd. It should be pretty fun. Today was a good day, and I really enjoyed the conversation that Toni had with Steve. I thought that was really, really cool. And hopefully you guys got some value out of it as well. This is Thursday. We're one step closer to the end of the week. I hope you all have had a wonderful week and have a good rest of your Thursday. And tune in tomorrow. Let me just double check real quick. Tune in tomorrow where we will. Okay, we have one more person join over here. I just want to share everybody who has joined. We're going to talk about tomorrow, like we always do, what's going to happen for the weekend. where we're actually going to go. And as I said before, if you guys know of anything that's going on that we should share on the show, let me know. If you have people who want to come, you would like to see come on the show to share information, let us know. And also, if you're willing to come on or know somebody who wants to come on the show to share their story, please let us know. And with that, I'm going to give you the rest of your day. Hope you have a wonderful one. Thank you for tuning in. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.